Lastly, tonight I wanted to do another dev diary because there is some movement on some fronts. Um, I actually have the interior, I have basically everything done for the Jebediah plane from Thunderdome. I know some people don't care, they hated that movie. Fine. Myself, I'm trying to get what vehicles can be done, and it would give us at least some airplanes in a game that features airplanes. So that instead of having airplanes that don't fit with the post-apocalyptic theme or aren't accurate to what's been presented in the post-apocalyptic theme here, you know, this, but the body and the main cockpit mesh is ugly as sin. And in some of the renders, you can really see it. So I've decided that I know where the windows and the doors and the main windscreen need to be punched out of. So I'm like, well, why don't I make sure to make a mesh that has enough poly in it on the sides to be able to accommodate those windows? Because when I've been booleaning, which is basically punching a hole in a solid object with another object that you've modeled. When I've done that, it's not gone so well. The because maybe if the side of the plane was completely vertical when I'd cut out the windows, then it would come out well. But since they're curved for the way that the cockpit of this air Transylvanian air truck works, I think it's called a PL-12 Transylvanian air truck. Because of its unique cockpit shape, when I would cut out the windows, I'd get these ugly windows that look fine from the side, but if you actually took a look at them from a different angle, you can see where it's just not working. I mean, I wish I could say right now the mesh is finished. And if I were a lesser man, I would just say, yeah, this model's finished. I'm done with it. It's going to be ready for Grand Theft Auto, all this stuff. I'm not going to do that. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So I'm fixing the body, but the basic look of the mesh is already set up. You can see the newer mesh. It's got the red coloring on it. It's got the red body part on it, where you can also see parts of the interior that I had already finished modeling. I mean, it's as accurate to the interior as I can get because almost nobody has pictures of the air truck's interiors. I've had to look at fine modelers and how the basic divide of the compartments are to have even the slightest idea of what the heck I'm doing with the inside of this plane. Granted, most people aren't going to see the inside of the plane, but I want my character to be able to sit in something that's mostly accurate. I would like for people who like the air truck to want to get it because I'm making the Thunderdome version, which has some special things added and some things taken away, and the stock version of the air truck, as is all of the Australian muscle cars that are base cars for our Mad Max vehicles here are going to have a base model that's going to be created. And so I'm working my butt off on the modeling. My Skinners, I haven't heard anything from them. Our tech guy, again, I haven't heard anything from him. I may end up actually converting my San Andreas models to Vice City, the ones that didn't get converted, myself, which if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to get overly upset or dramatic about it. I'm just glad to be getting some of these models finally finished. I mean, it's taken me several weeks to get the air truck in decent shape. Mostly it was the body and cockpit that were holding me up. And if it wasn't for the fact that the holes punched for the windows were so ugly, I'd just enjoy the air truck as it is because it looks the part. It's just the mesh is so damn ugly. And I know I can do better. So I've gone back and I'm doing some spline modeling with more vertices where they need to be at. And then instead of booleaning, I'm basically just shaping the windows on the mesh, on the splines, and then detaching that and throwing it out. Detaching it as a separate object and then throwing out the cut pieces. So now I have so far with the body, I have a very smooth, clean cut of the mesh, and the windows fit in nicely. They don't look ugly when you turn it at certain angles because everything doesn't somehow mesh up. The windows are finished. The door is finished. The door handle is finished. Um, all I've got to do is after I get the body done for the stock version, I've got to get the side door that's missing from the Thunderdome one because that door is gone. It is removed. It is not a part of the plane in the movie. It never was. It's just gone. So the body door, the side door, was gone. So I've got to remodel that. I've already got the door handle ready for that because it's the same door handle as the door handle for the cockpit. I've got the seats in place, no seat belts because again, I mean, I'm not trying to go for something that's an absolute fine modeler's dream. Although a lot of these meshes are going to probably find their way onto Google Warehouse because my ultimate goal with this project has always been that I don't want future Mad Max modelers to have to struggle like I did. People are going to steal my meshes anyways, so what's the point in trying to hoard them and act like, oh no, you can't have these? Speaking of mesh issues, though, um, I'm embarrassed to admit that the Mac I have now is not the final Mac that we had, and that's disappointing because I got to go back and re-dummy it. I've got to go back and fix the tires because the tires are fat and they don't work good. And there's no dualies on the back axles of the rig like there is in the movie, like there is on the actual semi-truck or however you say it, lorry is what I believe you Europeans say for your trailer hauling semi trucks. Anyways, the point is, so this was our first attempt. The graffiti's not quite movie perfect. The wheels aren't set up right, and so I've got to set those back up right because I'm pretty sure we had the wheel issue sorted out. Everything looked, fabulous and all this other stuff. But I got San Andreas, okay, I've got it working and it's not entirely working. And I found out I was right. It's my graphics card. Anything above Radeon Catalyst Driver 4.6 hates San Andreas and definitely does not favor Vice City in any way, shape, or form, which, yeah, that sucks. But okay, so I'm going to be getting I'm going to get my laptop fixed, or I'm going to get a newer laptop, and I'm going to look for one that has an NVIDIA card if I can get that, because a discount electronic place opened up, and they're offering some pretty good deals for some decent machines. I'd also like to be able to do more vlog stuff from the laptop so that maybe you're not having to deal with this, or maybe, hey, maybe I want to do a cooking show kind of thing, or I don't know, whatever I want to do on this channel, and have the laptop be my camera and my workstation. But anyways, if I can get one that can work with San Andreas, I can show off the mods, because right now the Mack truck and the Wes bike from the beginning of Mad Max 2, the Road Warrior, are done. And they were done, but of the mods that I can get in game, they're the only ones that don't look hideous with chunks that should not be missing from the mesh of the vehicles, as well as the people having missing parts of their mesh. And it's funny for me to play it, but if I'm gonna do a video showing off these mods, I can kind of do it because of the desert setting, but I can't do it within the populace because everything looks ridiculous. Although most of the scenery is fine, but it has its own ripping and tearing that's nonsensical, and it is my graphics card. Which I'm like, thanks, Radeon. I mean, I go to you because you are the go-to for graphical cards, and I cannot play certain games. Even some things on Steam were not working well, and now I know it's my stupid card. So, I also did some work on the road sign, the Forbidden Highway road sign from Mad Max, the one that has the little circle with the crossbones and it's got the little crossing thing on there, and then one that says like, forbidden area. One of those areas where they knew the not vigilantes, the marauders were going after people in Mad Max. and we're warning people that unless you can avoid it, don't go down this road, or we're not responsible for you. I'm also going to try to get the MFP sign from the very beginning of the movie created as well. But the problem is that's got to be skinned, and then I've got to figure out how I'm going to insert it into the model or into the map for at least San Andreas, if not Vice City. And that's really difficult. So hopefully by the end of this week, I'm going to have the completed, not ugly mesh of the Thunderdome plane as well as the stock plane finished. And then I'm just basically going to, as I said, focus on Mad Max because there's so little that's left to do, although that'll take me quite a while, several weeks to get like the one truck built from the ground up, and another one to actually get the Sandman built in any sort of semblance of sanity. Um, Beyond that, I don't know what else to say. I'm also looking at doing some ripping of some models for some pet projects I have. Like in particular, I need an F7 train for a conversion to a DLC train that came from Microsoft's Train Simulator 2003 that was locked behind premium DLC. And I can't rip it off there because I can't get that one to work. Because again, my graphics card hates this train simulator. Gotta love it. So, I mean, I'm going to be working on many different models. Try not to let that think that I'm not somehow not committed to this project. I absolutely am. But if I'm stuck doing the same model day after day, night after night, it drives me crazy and the work suffers. And I don't want that. You don't want that. So this is how things are going for now. And right now, I think we're gonna be doing all right. I've got one new mod that's finished, and hopefully once one of my skinners figures out how to do the materials um, on the vehicles, we'll have a lot of new mods that were not originally published with our original Mad Max mod. So a lot of tech work needs to still be done. A lot of things need to be tweaked, but we're getting on it. So don't you be worrying. But again, if you want to see the mesh work that's being done, link is down in the underbar, and I guess I'll repost the mod screens that I threw up as well, so you can see some of these vehicles and bikes in game right now. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.